Hi there, it's Richard from OneSight Solutions. This video is going to be on alarms. So the first thing you have to do is set up the alarm recipients and alarm classes. So before we add any alarms to any of my components, we need to go to the alarm service underneath our list of services. You can see that by default there's a default alarm class. So to add any more alarm classes, we need to go to our palette, so the alarm palette, and here we have alarm class. So I can drag an alarm class on there, give it a new name. Okay, size it up. Now if we go and have a look at the alarm class, you can see here we've got our information about how many alarms there are in that class. Obviously there's none at the moment because we haven't set any alarms up to be in this class. You've also got escalation levels where you can escalate the alarm if they haven't been acknowledged after 5 minutes and then after 15 and after 30. Obviously you can change these times, and there if you want to escalate them to like email or something like that if they're not been acknowledged. So you have the opportunity to do that there. If I right click on it, I'm just going to pin down some of those slots so we can get some more information at wire sheet level. It's always useful to be able to see those, I think. And then so doing that before I duplicate it means I don't have to do it again, so this might be non-critical. Being careful not to leave spaces in the name. Okay, and now we need to go to recipients. So there's two recipients in my alarm palette. I'll bring them both on here. So you've got console recipient and station recipient. So the console is basically an area where you'll be able to view all the alarms and acknowledge them and get more information, leave notes on them and things like that. And the station recipient is if you want to forward the alarms to a supervisor usually. Once you've discovered it in your Niagara network, you'll be able to choose it in this drop down box. So I'm going to link all of these alarm classes. So I want to do a link mark from. Oh, what have I done there? Sorry, link mark, beg pardon. So I'm link marking these three alarm classes, and then I'm multi-selecting these two recipients and saying link mark from. So I have to go from the alarm to root alarm, and that's it. That's all taken care of now. So once you've done this part, you've set your alarm classes and your recipients up, you can go and start adding some alarms to your points. So if I go to my boiler fault, I want to add an alarm. So if I go and look at this point, there's no way of setting alarms up here as it stands. Okay, so you have to add an extension to it. So what an extension is it's going to make that component a bigger component just by adding it. So just add it. You just drag it up in nav bar and drop it on the required component. You don't need to rename it. So now if I double click on it, you can see here we've got alarm inhibit time, alarm state, delays here. You can choose whether they're enabled or not. There's some timestamps and how long it's been in the current state, and then source name. So what the source name is it's looking at the parent of this alarm extension I've added, which is boiler fault, and it's looking at the display name of it, which is boiler fault. So the parent display name of this extension is boiler fault. So if you wanted to change that format to the parent of the boiler fault, which would be playground in this instance, but imagine this was AHU1 or boiler plant 1 or something, or plant room 1. You might want to refer to the folder above the component here. So to do that, you can very simply just copy the source name, the parent.display name, put an underscore here, and then do a Control V, and then just add another parent to the first format. Save that. So by doing that, it's now going to look at the parent. So here's my alarm extension. This is the first parent, and that's the parent. So then the source name now is going to be playground. That's this part. Then it's going to have an underscore, which is obviously in the middle there. And then it's going to look at the parent display name, which is ball of fault. So the whole source name will be playground underscore ball of fault. So now we're going to look at these text boxes. So this is a text that's going to come up when the alarm is reported to the console or forwarded on. So we don't need to worry about fault because it's just an on-off. There's no way of detecting whether or not it's in a fault status. So the off normal text would be alarm or something similar to that. And to normal would be alarm cleared, or again something similar to that. You've also got the opportunity here to add hyperlinks. So when it goes into alarm, there'll be a hyperlink button, and you can choose here the order to where it's going to hyperlink. You can add a different sound file for every alarm if you wanted to. You can add an alarm icon, so you can get different icons coming up for different alarms. Okay, so you can do that. You can also add instructions. So if you wanted to, like, say, call maintenance on this phone number, for example. And then you've got the fault algorithm, which obviously is not going to be available, and the off normal algorithm. So we want to choose, look at the text rather than the color of the circle. So its fault is our off normal, and then the alarm class. So out of the alarm classes I just set up, you can then choose whether it's a critical or non-critical alarm. Okay, so save that. So now we can, so yeah, what I didn't mention was all this slot above here. If I go and look at the wire sheet of my ball of fault and then have a look at this alarm inhibit. If I go and look at the wire sheet here, and then, so this is my extension that I've added, my change of state alarm. If I go and pin the slots down on here, you can see, I'll just pin a few down. You can see that this is just, all these slots are available, so I can link into any of these slots. So I could have something else, controlling whether or not the alarm is going to be inhibited or not. Okay, so maybe a schedule or some logic can inhibit that, and you can also say how long it's going to be inhibited for. You could link something else to it. Okay, so it's important to realize that these are linkable slots. Right, so if I go now to my alarm console that I've added to my alarm service. So I don't have any alarms there. If I now go to my ball of fault and activate that, or put it in an alarm status, you can see now I've got a red bell, which means I've got an alarm. It's saying it's not been acknowledged, it's off normal. There's my format text there, playground ball of fault. It's a non-critical alarm, and the alarm message is alarm. So if I acknowledge this, so I could do it right clicking on it, or I could go down here and acknowledge it. So now we've got a grey bell. It's still in an alarm status, just means it's been acknowledged. So nothing else has changed apart from the timestamp that it's been acknowledged now. So if I now go and change the alarm status to a healthy status, you see now it's now alarm is now cleared, and the timestamp has changed for the alarm cleared, and it's gone green. So it just needs another acknowledgement, and then it will just disappear from that alarm console. It'll still be available underneath the alarm database, which is this shortcut at the top. So any alarms that have come through to my station will be listed here. Okay, so the whole history of the alarms, and you can manage and clean up your database from here as well. Different options to clean up your database. So let's go and add a numeric one now to one of my once you've done that to 1 billion points, it's very simple to just copy it and paste it to another one. Just drag it and drop it onto another one. And there's obviously, because this is a ball of pumps status now, so there may be things you need to change about this. Maybe the alarm class, the off normal status. In this case, I don't have to change anything. and even my alarm and alarm cleared, I don't really need to change that on this occasion. So you can see that's just going to work straight away on this point that I've dropped it on. So then I can drop it onto the other pump status as well. So the only time you need to go and what you need to go and check is the status, the alarm algorithm, and your text really, and your alarm class. So the parent name will be the same for everything in this structure. So now I need to add one for my boiler flow temperature. So that's now going to be an out of range alarm. So it works with a numeric value. So if I drop that onto my boiler flow temp, and it's the same process really. So before I go anywhere here, I'll just copy this source name. It's going to be the same for my boiler flow temperature alarm. So I can straight away go to that same slot there and paste that in, so I know that's taken care of. Again, this time we've got fault text. So you could have fault text on a sensor. What you'll notice is down the bottom here you've got two algorithms, one for fault and one for off normal. So it's really important that you understand the difference between the two. So a fault, if your sensor goes into fault, then it won't be it's seen as not being available, and it will go into an orange color, and won't be any algorithms that it's used in. It won't be used. That value won't be used. It's seen as a faulty state. If your alarm goes into an off normal algorithm, then the sensor is seen to be out of comfort limits, and like high temperature or low temperature, and it will still be used in any calculations or algorithms. So it's important to understand that. So if I put in here my comfort level, so my high might be 26 if it's a space, but this is my boiler flow. So in this occasion, I might just want it to say I don't know, 90 or something like that. Put a deb band in. You can say in here high limit, or high temperature probably. And low temperature. I mean, you don't have to use both of these. You could just use one or the other. So I could just select high limit enabled and not worry about the low level. So you wouldn't have to fill that out if you're just using the high limit. And then choose your alarm class, of course. So again, non-critical. And so how this is different from the fault. Your fault would be your kind of outer limits of your sensors. So if it was, say, I don't know, 110 or something, is your open circuit kind of values. I'm not necessarily sure what this would be. Let's put -10 in there. And because it's just going to be a faulty status, you don't really need to use these boxes here. So you could just use this fault text box at the top. It's like a fallback text box. So this might be sensor failed. This could be this you wouldn't have to fill out because it's going to be using the text in these boxes, and the normal text would be alarm cleared. So that's it. Save that. So now if we go back and look at my alarm console, so at the moment everything's happy. So if I now go and change this value to what I put 90, so if I say 91 or 92, just be sure. So now we get the high temperature alarm. The source name is right. Okay, so now I can acknowledge it. It's the same thing as the Boolean alarm, so it will go grey. It's still in an alarm status. If I change this value to, so if I also, what's worth pointing out, if I go and look at the wire sheet here, you can see you get the red line on the slot as well, saying that it's an alarm status. If I just quickly open up my kit control and add some logic there. see if that goes, if I put that into this module, it will still work out what the average is. Now if I change this temperature to higher than 110, that's what I set it, the fault status, you can see it's gone orange, and that is no longer calculating, it's not any longer being used in the calculation. So it's really important to understand the difference between the red and the orange, the fault and the off normal. So if I go back to my console, you see now it's come up with sensor failed. It's in a fault status. So I can acknowledge that. And then when I put the value back down to a sensible value, be below 90, it's now gone back to normal. So I can acknowledge it again and it'll disappear. So it's just important to realise the difference between fault and alarm there, really. So once you've set all your alarm statuses up, or your extensions, sorry, you can, if you go back to your alarm service and right click on it and look at the views, there's quite a lot of other views here. So you've got the, as well as the wire sheet, you've got the alarm extension manager. This will tell us about all the alarms that we've got set up on our station. If there was any alarm, any colours coming through, they would show on this in this area as well. I might have to refresh it anyway. Yeah, so all them sort of colours will come through. If you've got to manage your alarm classes and you've not set them up, you can change them from here. So for example, let's just put these to change the status of these. So I can go to edit alarm class and change both of these to critical. That's the wrong one. You see, you can do that sort of thing from here. You can also right click on it and go to the point from here to quickly edit it if you want to. It's quite a useful area, this alarm extension manager, to be able to sort things out. The other views you've got is your alarm instructions. So if you were using that the alarm instructions, you could have a master list. You can then add from the master list to individual points from there. It's quite useful if you use that. Alarm class summary. This would have all my different alarm classes and the information about whether they're an alarm or not. And you've got the database maintenance here. So this here is the area that this new shortcut here takes you to, and you can go and sort out your database. And this is just so this is an HTML5 page. This is the Java page of that. So it's the same information. And these are just views. So these are pretty much the same views as what we see here without the data, without being able to sort out the database and any management of it. Okay, well that's pretty much it for the alarms. I hope you've enjoyed that. Again, please subscribe if you're enjoying watching these videos. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.